World War I, a conflict so immense, so devastating that it was initially called the Great War, engulfed Europe and beyond from 1914 to 1918, drawing in nations from across the globe. It was a war that shattered empires, reshaped the political landscape, and left an indelible mark on the 20th century, altering the course of history forever. Over 16 million deaths and 21 million wounded, a generation scarred, and a world forever changed by the sheer scale of the conflict. This was a war that was supposed to end all wars, yet its echoes can still be felt today, resonating through the decades. The sheer scale of World War I was unprecedented, with millions of soldiers mobilized from every corner of the world. Millions of soldiers from across the globe were mobilized, fighting in muddy trenches, vast battlefields, and remote outposts, enduring unimaginable hardships. The war introduced new technologies and tactics: machine guns, tanks, poison gas, and aerial combat, forever changing the face of warfare and military strategy. The world watched in horror as the conflict escalated, drawing in more nations and leaving a trail of destruction in its wake, a grim reminder of the cost of war. To understand the outbreak of World War I, one must first unravel the complex web of alliances and treaties that entangled the European powers in the early 20th century. Europe, in the years leading up to the war, was a powder keg of nationalism, imperialism, and military buildup. Each nation viewed the others with suspicion, forming alliances meant to deter aggression, but ultimately serving to magnify it. The Triple Alliance, consisting of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, stood in opposition to the Triple Entente: France, Russia, and Great Britain. These alliances and treaties, while intended to maintain a balance of power, created a climate of fear and mistrust. A minor incident could easily escalate into a major confrontation, as each nation was bound to defend its allies, regardless of the circumstances. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife Sophie in Sarajevo on June 28, 1914, provided the spark that ignited the powder keg of Europe. Gavrilo Princip, a member of the Black Hand, a Serbian nationalist group, fired the fatal shots, setting in motion a chain of events that would plunge the world into war. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany, issued an ultimatum to Serbia, demanding satisfaction for the assassination. Serbia, though willing to accept most of the demands, balked at some, refusing to allow Austro-Hungarian officials to participate in the investigation. This partial rejection, coupled with pre-existing tensions and miscalculations, led Austria-Hungary to declare war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. The Western Front, a 400-mile stretch of trenches and fortifications that ran through France and Belgium, became synonymous with the horrors and brutal realities of World War I. It was here that the armies of Germany, France, and Britain clashed in a bloody stalemate that lasted for years, with neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. The Schlieffen Plan, Germany's strategy for a swift victory by knocking France out of the war before Russia could mobilize, failed, leading to a protracted war of attrition that drained resources and morale. Life in the trenches was a nightmare, a living hell on earth. Soldiers endured constant bombardment, sniper fire, and the ever-present threat of poison gas attacks, which could come without warning. Diseases like trench foot and trench fever were rampant, adding to the misery and suffering of the soldiers. Millions of men fought and died in battles that resulted in minimal territorial gain, with the front lines barely moving. Each engagement a testament to the futility and senselessness of the conflict, a grim reminder of the cost of war. Section 5. Beyond the Trenches: Untold Stories and Forgotten Fronts. While the Western Front often dominates narratives of World War I, It is essential to remember that the conflict raged on multiple fronts, each with its own unique challenges and untold stories. From the Eastern Front's vast expanses to the deserts of the Middle East, the war touched every corner of the globe. The Eastern Front, characterized by its fluidity and brutality, witnessed massive clashes between the armies of Russia and Germany. The Ottoman Empire, fighting on the side of the Central Powers, engaged in significant campaigns in the Caucasus, Gallipoli, and the Middle East. Colonial troops from Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean were drawn into the conflict, their sacrifices often overlooked in traditional accounts of the war. World War I was not just a conflict fought on distant battlefields. Its effects were deeply felt on the home front as well. Nations mobilized their economies for total war, redirecting resources and manpower to support the war effort. Rationing became commonplace, and women took on new roles in factories and shipyards, filling the void left by men who had gone off to fight. The war also had a profound impact on social and political structures. Governments expanded their powers, censorship became widespread, and dissent was often suppressed. The horrors of the war, communicated through letters and returning soldiers, shattered the illusion of pre-war optimism, leaving a generation disillusioned and questioning the very foundations of society. The economic strain led to inflation and labor strikes, further altering the social fabric. The First World War led to the downfall of empires that had dominated the world stage for centuries. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, already weakened by internal divisions, finally disintegrated under the weight of defeat. The Ottoman Empire, once a formidable power, also faced dissolution. Russia, engulfed by revolution and civil war, withdrew from the conflict, leading to the fall of the Tsarist regime. From the remnants of these empires, new nations such as Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and Poland emerged, their borders redrawn by the victors of the war. The war also intensified nationalist sentiments in colonial territories, sowing the seeds for future independence movements that would reshape the world in the decades to come. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended World War I, but failed to establish a lasting peace. The treaty, driven by a desire for retribution and security on the part of the victorious Allied powers, imposed harsh penalties on Germany, including territorial losses, disarmament, and crippling reparations payments. The treaty, while aiming to prevent future German aggression, created resentment and instability in Germany. The humiliation and economic hardship it caused fueled nationalist and revanchist sentiments, contributing to the rise of extremist ideologies that would eventually plunge the world into another global conflict. The Treaty of Versailles, meant to be a blueprint for peace, became, in many ways, a blueprint for future war due to its unresolved issues and the tensions it exacerbated. World War I left an indelible mark on the 20th century, its legacy one of immense loss and enduring lessons. The war shattered the illusion of progress and reason, leaving a profound sense of disillusionment and uncertainty in its wake. The horrors of trench warfare, the unprecedented casualties, and the societal upheavals it unleashed served as a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict. The relentless bombardments, the gas attacks, and the psychological trauma experienced by soldiers and civilians alike painted a grim picture of modern warfare. Yet, amidst the loss and devastation, World War I also fostered a renewed commitment to peace. The war led to the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, which aimed to prevent future conflicts through diplomacy and collective security. The Treaty of Versailles, however, imposed harsh penalties on Germany, contributing to economic hardship and political instability. Despite its flaws, the treaty also gave rise to the League of Nations, an international organization dedicated to maintaining peace. The memory of the war to end all wars served as a powerful reminder of the need for international cooperation, dialogue, and a commitment to resolving disputes through peaceful means. The establishment of these organizations marked a significant step towards a more interconnected and cooperative world. While the world has yet to achieve lasting peace, the lessons of World War I continue to shape our understanding of conflict, reminding us of the importance of diplomacy, the fragility of peace, and the enduring human cost of war. The echoes of the past still resonate today, urging us to strive for a world where dialogue triumphs over discord and peace prevails over conflict.